something like a Wukong. One team could get the Zeri, RNG, Zeri.
You know what I was going to say to you? I was going to be like, RNG in the past, the first pick Vi. That has happened. I'm surprised not to see it this time around, but I just felt like I had to drop that in. Maybe for LGD could be a response here, as you mentioned the Zeri, left open and available for Assum and JinJiao if they want to set up that 2v2 like Gala did last game.
And it makes me curious about if LGD do decide to go with the Zeri, of if RNG go the same route in terms of the Twitch, which we really saw fall off as, you know, the quote-unquote answer to the pick lately, or if they have something else that they want to show down there in that bottom lane. LGD starting off, though, by picking up this Viego. We also highlighted potentially something like the Galio as something that Yeji's really leaned on, but no, instead, it's going to go and take away the Ahri and, you know, try and guarantee themselves a strong mid lane matchup. But this could also just set up a Lissandra pick for Xiaohu.
Yeah, and the Zeri picked up anyway here for Gala, who had such a great game on it. They're Way's cheering. They look pretty happy with it. And look, Gala never smiles. And to be fair, that was a smirk. So probably feeling good right now, RNG, as Lyric, you hit the nail on the head. Look at those 3 strong meta picks.
I mean, this would work as well, right?
Yeah.
Like LeBlanc and Lissandra, both champions that are picked into the Ahri quite a bit. Lissandra just being typically what Xiaohu leans on, so they do go with it. And like you said, we have probably the highest priority AD carry. We have, you know, probably the highest priority, I guess not highest priority jungler because Poppy does exist. And now a strong mid lane matchup. In the thing that Xiaohu has loved is, oh, we got the Nilah.
Oh my God, we've been waiting. The first LPL Nilah. Is it going to be on the last game of the LPL is the only question. But hey, Lyric, I don't care. We get the new champion, dude, and I'm all ready.
I mean, this was going to be really interesting, right? I think the way that Joe would always describe it was like a Jax that Silas ulted and Orianna, which again I don't know. I don't know why he didn't just say, you know, a Jax with Orianna ult. I guess he's talking about like the pull in, which is a lot more like Rel's ult to me than Orianna's. But I see what he's going for, right? Being able to pull in your allies. But point is, you know, a champion who wants to get into the thick of battle. It's all about going all in. So you are, you know, a very short range champion. You have those dashes available to you. One of the reasons we don't really see it is because of the weaknesses that it does have in the laning phase, but LGD don't care. It's potentially their last game, and they want to go out in style.
And Assum already pulled up the Twitch in game 1. Of course he does the Nilah in game number 2 now. Lyric, here's what I know. Yumi's a great combo pairing. People have been testing with things like Zillion as well. Double EXP lane in the bottom side. Apart from that, good enchanters that can help her with her mobility of going in, going out, and just running away. I'm curious about RNG because they still don't have themselves a support either. Taking away some from JinJiao is going to limit the pool quite a bit, as maybe it is about taking away what he can pair with Assum, just waiting those 5 seconds. Lyric?
I think it makes sense, right? Because you highlighted typically being paired with enchanters because of the buff that comes of being like heal or shield when you are paired with a Nilah. But gonna save support, it looks like. Gwen still being left open. Makes sense as a blind pick going towards the highest priority blind pick top laner you can go with. Now for the side of RNG, having to lock in a support themselves. I wonder if they'd want to look towards something like a Lulu and like potentially go with that, not only to pair with the Zeri, but also as a bit of a takeaway, or if they go the standard route, which is what they're going to go with, locking the Nautilus.
I'm going to be worried about this Nilah here, Lyric. A lot of engage coming through, a lot of gap close so far from RNG. We just need to see Breeze top laner where the options to take on him. You mentioned Jax, anything else you want to throw in?
Jax kind of being the standout in my mind. The Akali, which they've already hovered, is something that we've seen a little bit this split. And of course, is one of the big counter picks a lot when we first had Gwen come out onto the Rift. And I remember Breathe was someone who would pilot this champion as well. And they're just going to go with it. So having a lot of backline threat coming out on the side of RNG could make it very awkward for a champion like Nilah to look to go in. We have to worry about this Akali throwing down her shroud. Where is she going to be at? And if she can get on top of you and just assassinate you outright.
JinJiao's thinking about it. You can all see the smirk on his face. Like, get the Pyke on in. Leona's boring. Pyke is not Lyric. And that is someone who can bring you a hug. Or at least bring Nilah a hug from an enemy champion in his bottom lane.
So very all-in style coming out from LGD. It could potentially be a rough first few levels. I'm very interested in seeing how this goes, right? Like I said, first time we're getting this champion here in the LPL. But LGD overall having like strong tools to set up pick, whether it's from the Pyke, the Ahri as well to be able to get in there, lock people down with the charm. So for RNG, very strong team fighting coming through, but also having a lot of backline threat. I mean, Breathe able to get in there with flanks. The E from Xiaohu that can get right in the middle of things. Ult the Nilah, ult himself, cause a bunch of chaos with how short range the LGD composition is.
I'm gonna keep a close eye on the. I'm gonna keep a bottom eye. I'm gonna keep a close eye on the bottom lane, at the very least with the debut of Nilah. But let's not forget what's up for stake, ladies and gentlemen. LGD want this win, not for themselves because they're already out of playoffs, but they want it for JDG. If they're able to take a single game off of RNG, JDG will lock in second. And it'll be like 2020 summer and spring all over again, Lyric. It'll be the top esports and JDG dynasties revisited. But if RNG 2-0 this, if they end the LPL regular season right here, they'll lock in second for themselves. They'll guarantee top 4 with that double elimination. And their chances of going to Worlds will be even greater. You've seen RNG at MSI, but LPL fans want to see RNG continue that golden road. Not even towards just the finals of the LPL, but towards the world stage to see if they can do what's never been done before. It doesn't start here, Lyric, but it definitely starts. You start thinking about it at the very least for one of our oldest organizations of the LPL.
Oh, of course. For RNG, I mean, just always having those big aspirations on the board. For LGD, they already said it in the pre-match interview coming into this one. JinJiao talking about how it's a learning mentality down there when going up against Gala and Ming. And who knows, maybe for Gala and Ming, it'll be a learning opportunity as well, having to go up against this Nilah and Pyke lane. We're gonna see how this one does pan out. I would expect a lot of action down towards that bottom side, considering that it could be such a fragile affair when you have a champion like Nilah, who we can see not even running the flash, actually going with both exhaust and ghost. If you can find that kill on her and just look to punish, I mean, there's gonna be no coming back.
Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen Nilah so far, it's all about CSing in the lane. She has to kill the minion to grant the additional experience, but you're going to expect a level 2 here first on the bottom lane. So, Lyric, I love the kill threat that we can start talking about. And also, we know that the healing and shielding power from her team is going to be substantial as Fearness runs into enemy jungle, but Breathe is waiting there. While Fearness now runs back to wave with half his health bar. That's going to be a nice start for Breathe on this Akali.
He's going to be feeling fine up there, but also when you hit back down in that bottom lane, you hit on the experience thing coming through, which, again, can give you level advantages stronger earlier than the other bot lane, is Ming now being punished. Assum also will have up to 2 dashes on it. Nilah's E is a dash, can stack up to 2 times, so that's why maybe feeling confident in not having to take that flash, but he really is all-inning on being able to find this early aggression with, you know, indexing in towards that exhaust.
That Formless Blade as well, the passive with the armor pen, let's not forget, going to be nice here against this team too, but there's a lot right now that the Q's going to be seen as they already hit level 2. It's kind of crazy. JinJiao, love the emote usage as well as Assum continues to push, but you can see Jungler also heading towards the bottom side of the map right now, Lyric, is JinJiao with a nice little trade off the backside too.
Not much to be exploited in topside in my mind. Like, the other Akali, she's going to fare fine all by herself. Will be rough the first few levels. We could see he did just end up giving up the wave, and we'll be able to pick that up. But even for the side of LGD, the amount of mobility he has is Shadow actually going to look onto Xiaohu.
Might have to burn his flash. Good charm timing. The glacial path doesn't connect as he gets 2-man root, but Xiaohu's dead. Won't burn the summoner as it's perfectly lined up by LGD for first blood.
You nailed it as well. Just perfect charm timing coming through for Yeji to make sure they get that one. And now going to be able to get down towards that bottom half, bottom side of the map with Shadow and make sure their bot lane can keep doing what they've been doing this whole time as Fearness also proxy farming between Breed's turrets.
And as you said, there won't be much of an issue with that earlier trade. You're right on the nail there too, where we're looking at the replay towards mid to watch that layering one more time.
And we're going to see, right, Shadow being able to get here. The E comes out, but instantly flash charm onto Xiaohu. Shadow able to follow through, and it doesn't matter that Xiaohu's able to lock both of them down. He will just fall in the end.
So, first blood goes over to Shadow. The Viego we know, a great snowballing champion, Lyric. That is lost favor in the meta, but still is often picked into this Wukong. So, I'm kind of curious as to how he progresses this game when you've already got that first kill. You've been able to burn Xiaohu, but not burn the flash. What are you kind of hoping here from LGD's early game?
for LGD, I think they have to just keep indexing into having vision around bot side. They have windows where, like now, when you have that wave pushed out, you could potentially look to find roams towards mid for JinJiao, maybe try and get the flash out from Xiaohu. But if not, I think a lot of it's just going to be looking to bring Shadow down and finding these all-in opportunities. It looks like Xiaohu's been able to maintain a strong prio in mid, which could make it pretty rough if they don't maintain that vision line in river, or even just him hovering into Fog of War can prevent a lot of the action that it looks like JinJiao has been fishing for.
I'm just looking up towards the top side on the minimap, though. Breed able to push out there as cameraman's down here for a reason. Nice interaction from Ming, who gets out with a cheeky dredge line as Assum continues just farming up here. Remember, Formless Blade lets you hit in that AoE. As JinJiao sets up for a dredge line again and sets up for the interaction. Gala and Ming stay safe as we look topside. That's why I was here. Fearness about to go down. Breeze going to be taken with him, though. And that gives Shadow a reset here. With the Shuriken out, the flash now burned. Shadow commits too. On a tear here. Stolen Akali, double kill. And Shadow now 3-0 here in his second game.
And I'm even surprised RNG looked towards this top side onto the Gwen, not knowing exactly where Shadow would be or where he can come from. And Gwen, I think, bringing a lot more to an early 2v2 than an Akali does with a lot of your, all of your damage, right? Being about that single target, being able to get in and execute one target. So might end up being a 1-for-1 at first, but then with the possession, Shadow able to keep going through. And
let's look at what's going to happen now, Lyric, because we've already got a Sheen on Shadow. He's got time to back two with this wave getting cleared out. So the camps will look towards mid because Yeji doesn't actually have flash available. Spirit Rush is there with the Glacial Path, getting out of the way with the Spirit Rush now burned. But as Wade jumps back on in, Yeji tries to threaten, Charm doesn't connect, but at the very least, that's an ult gone from the mid lane Ahri.
LGD have just kept up the pressure
level six.
So much.
Shuriken flip, Breathe, has ultis, already burnt it, but it gets out in the nick of time. Needlework channeled as well. And we are building on action here, Lyric, as Dragon starts meanwhile on the bottom side.
Now, RNG going to look to potentially find a pick in mid first.
Yeah, Glacial Prison locks it down. JinJiao ignited, even out of vision. He's so close to dying. Gala's right here, flashes for it. That is a bloodlust. Hard to satiate now as RNG get a kill out of what seemed to be gone and steal the Dragon right under their nose.
Great job coming out from RNG. This is something you see typically happen, I think, more around Herald setups. Is Assum?
Assum in with the Formless Blade, feeling confident, but not going to slipstream forward. So Dragon does go down. LGD lose that one. It's of the gold as well. Quelled Lyric from the earlier plays.
But yeah, one thing you could see a lot from when one team is already on objective or starting up an objective, and again, you see it a lot on Herald, as the team will start up Herald, the enemy team, instead of just coming right into River, you look to gank the top laner that is still in that lane, find that pick, and you could easily transition onto the objective with numbers. So RNG kind of taking that route with the Dragon, find the pick in mid, forces the Viego off Dragon, you guarantee yourself the objective. And now also, again, crucially, getting some wards down into that bot side, a kind of mid-bot side river to then set up to where if Xiaohu's able to get that prio, again, you can start playing around with Fog of War. Yeji now having the wave push, looks like he'll start clearing that one out. But heck, bot side might not stay the focus for much longer with Herald coming up in 30 seconds.
I mean, you can see that things coming down from RNG with Breed getting shoved into the top side. Hovering now too, in case Wei gets threatened at his own blue buff. So love the coordination from the top jungle. While as the wave crashes in a little bit, Lyric, we are close to hitting level 6 on the Wukong. Shadow already with a Heartbreaker. Yeji's ulti will be up and available. I'm kind of just timing some of these ultis because it feels like everyone's hitting that 6 point with 10 seconds to go for the spawn.
And it's going to be rough, especially if we do start getting these fights towards Herald. LGD having first move timer as well. Assum on the Nilah can provide a lot in team fights if you can get in the middle of numerous members, kind of pull them all up, and then set up for Fearness and Shadow to pop off. But they ended up going back down to bot lane, so this is actually potentially just a 3v3 in topside.
And not spotted out his way right now with the control ward placed by RNG, but at 1k for the Herald, it's smited down and it's gone. The local gold given over as we get it all in onto Gala on the bottom side. Apotheosis great with the Bone Skewer, and X marks the spot. The 2v2 comes in clutch, and that combo was slick.
We see the Ghost popped, you E in, you pop the ultimate, pulls him in, sets up perfectly for the Pyke to be able to follow through. RNG now need to find a window on top side.
Well, it's up to Breed to get the perfect execution, but Shuriken Flip doesn't connect. Breed not getting the perfect lock in, and now Shadow's here as well with himself with a Heartbreaker. Wei has to respect it, and Fearness gets out.
And with now LGD having a 2K gold lead, feels like the perfect time to keep shoving this in the viewers' faces. That if RNG lose here, if RNG lose this one game, they cannot finish top 2. They can only finish at best 3rd. So RNG really hoping to find this one, but with Shadow waiting in the wings, doesn't feel like there's going to be too much of an opportunity presented.
Yeah, he's got himself the Herald, so quick back here. Lyric keeps threatening. Way also shadowing too. Just hoping that Fearness steps too far forward. But LGD still with a 2K gold lead here in this game. They've got the Herald as well, Lyric, to get some of that first brick potential gold, or should I say a couple of plates. Divine Thunder now, by the way, picked up by Shadow. As we look at the replay, this is the 2v1 bot.
Yeah, we're going to see they start by going in. Assum with the dash straight into the ulti, pulls him in. And then JinJiao able to follow through. Exhaust comes out. Bone Skewer in. And there is nothing Gala can do. Ming getting there. Sadly, just 1 second out of time.
But we're fighting yet again. JinJiao with his ult almost up and available. Might not matter as Ming lucky to get out. Now Wei is left behind. Has to Cyclone to get out of there. JinJiao still angling though with his X back up and available. LGD still bloodthirsty and finding out RNG in their own jungle.
And look at the wards that they've been able to put down, right? They have a ton of information on anywhere RNG will go, completely surrounding Krug and Tribrush down in bot side. So I love that they're just using this to their advantage to hard force into RNG's face. They're going to look to clear out some of RNG's own vision, considering that Shadow might be going towards mid right now, but still towards the bottom half of the map.
Look at JinJiao's threat here. Still safe because of Wei, but steps up. Gala still without a flash. Bone skewers have been so good from this X80 carry. Funnily enough, XBLG 80 carry as well, as Wei here to help with the wave. But JinJiao and Assum are just so confident right now on these picks, with Shadow in the wings as well.
Yeah, it's definitely rough for RNG, because it doesn't feel like a cross-map play can be made on top side. We've seen it attempted many times, but at this point, Fearness, so hard to take down with the amount of sustain that he has in his kit, and you've kind of let Assum and JinJiao just have their way with this bottom side, so RNG in a bit of a rough position. You can always theoretically try and look mid first, since you do have a ton of CC able to come through for Xiaohu, but once again, Yeji, very mobile. If you aren't just able to burst him down outright, he will definitely be able to escape, but then you're just using so many resources in a place where a play isn't really feasible.
Had such a better game from him as well. I mean, that play mid, all that convinced me that this second game on Ahri is going to be quite impactful. Is Yeji with the most experience in the game right now as well. We'll keep track on that as he's first going to be hitting level 11. But I want to talk about Dragon a little bit here, Lyric. RNG are giving it away. They stole the last one from LGD. So at least the time has settled down a bit, but LGD still are the team in control. They're still the team in the gold lead. And they're still the team that have got priority all from mid all the way to bottom lane quite convincingly.
And now, especially having Mythics on the board, right? We see Assum actually going for the Eclipse, not the typical Immortal Shield Bow build that comes through. So going to have, a bit more of a power spike here in the early to mid-game phases. And Shadow as well has a Divine Thunderer.
Okay, here comes Herald though, so it's going to be a 3v2 in the bottom lane. Look at the movement. Make it 4 from Yeji with the Spirit Rushes. They're looking for first turret blood, but they're a bit way off as Bone Skewer doesn't connect. And it's simply the threat here, the gold given over, and LGD making the smart play and not overcommitting in the bottom lane.
No, but still just getting a ton of gold put once again on their carries. Shadow and Assum potentially be able to snowball out of control. And RNG, it looks like their play for now is just trying to constantly hover for their bot lane and not let this counterattack come through, kind of banking on some of the scaling that they have with the amount of damage that Gala will be able to do later on, and then the threat that Breathe will be able to put in once we get into full-on 5v5 skirmishes, especially with that Rocket Belt, right? We'll just have such an immense amount of threat onto Assum.
That one item for Xiaohu getting close as well. I think worth mentioning, considering we have another Herald coming up in about a minute as onto Shadow. Breathe tries to threaten from the ward, but he's simply clearing out vision and cannot be touched at this point of the game. Lyric, I was going to ask you a question, but maybe now's not the time. And Xiaohu runs into Yeji. Ultimate is up and available, but he wants to burn that cleanse away. Again, it comes through with a good double root. And now it's ult for the Summoner and the Spirit Rush down from Yeji with 45 seconds towards Herald.
Still, RNG not going to be able to really turn this into anything, especially when we're looking at things like that Herald. It's going to be a lot about either you know, bot lane prio if one of them does opt to rotate a bot lane. We didn't see that happen last time around. Or then just who's able to get the best out of these topside trades. Does feel like it should be in LGD's favor with what Fearness has been able to keep up so far. Has fallen slightly behind in terms of CS, but like we saw in that last 2v2 of what Fearness and Shadow are able to do, especially with the lead that Shadow's been able to build up for himself.
Brief gears up for the 1v1 on the top side, but look at where Wei is. Lyric, it's always transgressing, isn't it? As Wei goes in for the full-on Cyclone, but hasn't pulled it out just yet. Breathe in with the perfect execution. They're almost letting him get away. Wei has to flash in the end. And luckily so, Fearness got out last time, is now Shadow in with the commit, but Cyclone's still up and available, but a reset given over first. RNG's jungler on the chase and maybe on the run now, it seems. Going into a 1v3, he has no hope as gold's given over. And guess who benefits here yet again? Shadow 4-0-1 Lyric, and RNG are being met with so much hostility in this second game.
And they just keep looking towards this top side, not able to work out. LGD were on their way up here considering Herald and Spawn. This will be another Herald over to the side of LGD, who, again, have had a gold lead this whole time, still sitting at 3,000.
It's so dangerous right now for RNG, getting threatened out by the bottom tier team while LGD are playing simply for JDG's pleasure right now. We already talked about it, you know what's for stake here. RNG need that 2-0 so desperately, but LGD now with the second Herald in this game. Top side, first turret blood, going down to Yeji Lyric. This is going to be a 4,500 gold lead at 15 minutes into the game.
It's rough, and I mean, looking, they just got top turret. Bottom turret was taken extremely low.
Yeah.
We'll revisit the play real quick. Is RNG trying to find their way into Fearness, able to mitigate a lot of the damage with the W. We can see him sustaining up. But most importantly, it's buying time because look at the mini-map. Pyke, Viego, and Ahri all on their way. No other members of RNG really close by. So Shadow goes in with the items he's built up with that Divine Sunder. One ultimate is enough to be able to find the initial kill onto Breathe. And then with Calvary arriving, RNG really standing no chance. But coming back out of the play, I want to highlight how low the bot lane turret is for the side of LGD as well. Because Nilah's Q, remember, does work on structures.
Speaking of Nilah, no cleanse available. Going to be taken down. Gala's just ulted as well. As LGD bringing in the TP. They're going for the full-on engage. A bone skewer. Gala flashes away, but a good depth charge. Ming saves his life as Fearness' ulti starts flying through the rift, but JinJiao is on the escape. RNG with a beneficial trade. And then Nilah takes her first death in the LPL.
RNG finally find a pick they were looking for. Just the amount of CC that they're able to bring to these fights. Lissandra, Wukong, and Nautilus, so much. That time coming out from Xiaohu and Ming, but they did have to blow a lot of summoners to find that one pick.
Good wave clear, though, coming from Gala, but instead aims for the angle on the champions as Evercross comes through from Yeji. Ming with a dredge line, good kiting. LGD will have themselves this turret as well if they step on up, and RNG are going to get out of there before they get caught in the process. Gold swings back in LGD's favor, and now the map Lyric is wide open as we're not done, because Yeji has this angle, and Wei's being baited in. I'm scared.
RNG don't look like they're going to fall for it just yet, knowing that they don't see every member on the map, and they're actually just going to look for the cross map. They're realizing, hey, we don't feel comfortable fighting this. We wasted a lot of flashes in that play mid all the way down to bot. We still don't have ulti up for Gala or Ming. Let's play up for topside, get some vision down, and allow Breed some free time with this turret.
So, as this dragon goes down, walk me through a little bit about how LGD push this even further, right? Side lanes are going to be down. You can see Assum on the bottom side is about to get that last outer turret. Map is wide open. They've got dragon stacking now as well. Walk me through how LGD create this upset.
For LGD, I feel like they kind of need to play mid-game as a bit of a roaming death squad until more neutrals come up. Because they don't have the range, they don't have things like the wave clear to be able to siege down turrets, push RNG in, and just take the game naturally that way. It's going to require them kills to be able to turn this into more objectives. So a lot of JinJiao, Assum, Yeji, Shadow kind of being this four-man death squad playing out through two lanes, leaving Fearness off on his own, and getting deep vision in the enemy jungle. You do that until things like Dragon comes up, and then you could try to pull RNG in, which could lead to those big team fight wins that could turn into structures.
I feel like for RNG right now, you know, getting pulled into that fight, we still haven't seen the apotheosis in a full 5v5, the needlework as well. A lot of good combos there for LGD as Shadow has himself an angle, but is simply just taking away more and more. Look at the CS lead in jungle Lyric. Shadow up a level as well.
I mean, we've seen Shadow has been able to focus on finding some farm to where way a lot of the time has it to cover for the potential ganks to come that could come through from Shadow or just cover bot lane. He's invested a bit of time in top, so hasn't really been able to equalize that farm. I want to go back to the point about like seeing Assum find a huge ultimate in a 5v5. You gotta remember, he has to play those very tactically, because if he just goes in and tries to like start off a fight or even follow up by himself, like you're potentially just jumping straight into a Xiaohu ultimate or a Cyclone coming out from way. So Assum gonna have to be very very tactical with how he looks to use these.
You're right, and no cleanse as well, right? Like there's a lot to be punished if this Nilah, this first Nilah in the LPL, doesn't get the right conditions. At the very least, I wanted to pull out that JinJiao actually getting Dredgeliner here. Never mind my point, because that Pyke goes too deep and gives Gala a massive shutdown, Lyric. I'm getting deja vu from game 1.
We gotta remember that LGD are the type of team who give the opportunities over. I mean, there's a reason why they're sitting at 3-12, right? Able to have these fantastic starts to the games. It's about being able to transition in. Fearness now, once again, under threat. We usually haven't seen this work out too well for RNG, but ooh, Fearness not going to fall for it. So nice respect shown so far, but Wei's really committing a lot. I guess there's really nothing else up. You even look at the minimap, he has no camps in either side of his jungle.
Ming might be caught out though. Heartbreaker here onto the Nautilus, trying to buy time. He's got flash available, but goes golden in the nick of it as Yeji comes in with the Spirit Rush as well. Down goes Ming. Lyric, they're on the top side as well, as Xiaohu gets a route on his escape, and that's going to open up a lot for LGD.
And just one of those things, right? RNG trying to find that pick towards the bottom half of the map, and Ming trying to get control of vision, just opens up for the pick to come through, but TP from Breathe.
Okay, one mistake turns into an opportunity as Breathe still wants that angle, but RNG don't go in. Xiaohu not willing, and it turns into nothing.
I was going to say one mistake turns into, I feel like 2 mistakes is a strong word, but turns into another advantage for the side of LGD, because now TP off the board for Breathe. We're going to go all the way back in, and Ming wanting to try and clear out some of this vision. They obviously have an idea that the Viego's here because they see the mist come through, but in my mind, just kind of over-indexing him and Xiaohu, not on the same page. So you can see Xiaohu wants to finish clearing out that wave in mid before he's able to move. And sadly for Ming, his flash actually wasn't available. It was 4 seconds out from being available.
Good little C there as well. So Ming not having it is pretty sad as it opens up top lane to get pretty well damaged down. Some camps left over, but the Shadow still continues surging ahead with this early game he's built for himself. 4K gold lead still for LGD. The game in their hands. And we're going to wait until this next dragon comes up, Lyric, because Baron's been there for a while. RNG have been able to get some vision down on it. But I'm more looking towards this dragon on the bottom side and see if LGD will be able to set themselves up for Soul Point.
Speaking of LGD, also Assum now picking up the Collector gives us a chance to talk about Nilah a little bit more, because she actually has a lot of things in her kit that do scale with crit. Your Q has a passive that gives you armor penetration. You have healing in it as well. Your ult is healing that scales off of crit chance. Your Q damage as well can be increased off the amount of crit that you have. So JinJiao now getting to the point where he's going to start picking up that crit and getting a lot more strength that Nilah can provide.
And at this point, with 2 items, we looked at RNG, Lyric. We also talked about the lack of frontline, especially at this point. Bruiser here for Wei, but at this point, LGD feeling so confident. As Xiaohu gets a push on the top side and starts walking down, Lyric, it looks like RNG are going to be trying to fight this one.
I feel like this would have been RNG's only opportunity. They saw the Ahri catching wave in topside, could have tried to find an engage here, but now I like this. As the edgy TPing down here first, not going to give RNG the chance to answer, so you can see Xiaohu actually backing off, going back to topside, and now LGD out of nowhere on Soul Point.
It's a good look. It's a good look for the 15th, 16th place team. Looking up against our MSI champions, our team trying to secure top 2 in a split that has just been, RNG highlights after highlights. Their mid game has been so good, even in comebacks. We talked about that. That's why for LGD, we know they're not secure in this game number 2. RNG have been one of our best comeback teams of the split, as you were saying before. And we are getting towards a 3-item Zeri, Lyric. That is my one concern here, considering that, RNG are still getting gold in this game when it felt pretty lost out.
It's definitely not over, right? I mean, we've seen RNG find picks onto the Nilah before. Same thing can happen for Shadow. They still are a relatively low range composition. RNG do still have a bunch of CC. if things do go a little sideways for LGD, all the chance for them to be picked off. But you can see they're very aware of this because stopwatches are starting to come out. Fearness picked up a Banshee's Veil. You have stopwatch on both Shadow and Yeji and trying to prevent those opportunities from being able to be given over.
As Assum walks into the mid lane, I was getting scared a little bit there, and you talked a little bit about stopwatch usage. I feel like that conversation's going to come up in a little bit. JinJiao with the angle right here as TP's being used on topside turret. Shadow's moving quick though as Yeji with the Everfrost charm, but Xiaohu has a Banshee's Veil, so that's quickly negated, while LGD have to back away with RNG moving as their own little death squad in here in this mid game.
You can see RNG, it's all just about kind of getting a defensive line down, drawing the line in the sand, taking your own camps, and getting as much gold onto Gala as possible, and even breathe, before you have to have the game-winning or game-losing fight that's going to come up, which, I mean, ultimately, right, feels like RNG probably going to want to look to contest once we get to Seoul in about 30 minutes, so I wouldn't be too surprised if not much action happens until then. RNG potentially looking for a pick on Yeji and topside, but LGD have done a really good job of not overextending in sides and backing off once their waves are pushed past the neutral point.
And they've got so much information in the game as well. Like that Umbral Glaive is so valuable. You know, we've seen it on so many different champions in the past couple of patches, but Lyric, Umbral Glaive is still such a great first item for this Pyke. As JinJiao right now sitting on 123 ward score at 25 minutes in the game. I think overvaluable is probably the best way to put it.
Oh, LGD just overall, I mean, their composition, if they get ahead, is so oppressive. But at the same token, right, had they fallen behind, I mean, Pyke from behind doesn't do much. Viego, you rely on resets, so typically you need to be ahead for the damage to come out to set those up. And same thing with Assum and the Nilah. It's a champion, since it's short range, since it does go in, typically does need to be ahead. So LGD have done a great job at finding that lead. And then, like you're saying, with the items they have, with pushing this momentum forward, they're just able to choke RNG out from vision and maintain the lead.
You're talking about champions that was similar to, like, I think the one Munchie missed was Samira, right? The EQ is exactly the same as Samira's combination. And we know what Samira does when she falls behind Lyric. I know, a little bit more scary. We get ourselves a better angle than Samira, but still worth mentioning considering that Assum hasn't really fallen behind in this game. He's been moving ahead quite nicely with the lethality build. Shadow gets out just before Shadow sets up the engage. And even though Dragon's up in a minute 30, we are setting up around this top side. I don't know how LPL fans are like, where's the action? Why is it slowed down a little bit? But I assure you, that won't be the case for long as Gala's about to get pincered here. But over the wall, never mind. Zeri has rollerblades. It doesn't matter.
I gotta say, though, if this game keeps going, I feel like Gala's just gonna straight up outpace Assum on the opposite side. Assum now picking up the Hex Drinker. Gala really close to his third item. Again, he's going full crit, so he will just be hitting like a truck to where Assum now. Like, you go the Eclipse, again, has the early power there. Now picking up the Hex Drinker, so going more defensive. And there it is. IE now picked up for Gala. I wouldn't be surprised if RNG now feel confident starting to take these fights.
I mean, look, 50 seconds till the Dragon. They've got to anyway, right, Lyric? We know that in 12-14, more value on those individual Drakes, but also Cloud Soul are still a bit ridiculous, especially on a Zeri. Cloud Soul with ulti means that you turn into, I don't know, a fighter jet at this point. You're zooming around anyway. You see the jet, and then you hear the sound. I think that's how it works. I'm not too sure. Maybe the sound, then the vision. Shadow's going to be called out. TP coming in. 20 seconds, Lyric, and you got to take me away. But Shadow actually getting flashed on by Xiaohu. Gold in the nick of time is their perfect way to describe Shadow being okay. No summoner usage, but he will have that stopwatch down. As Breathe now joins in, away from the Bone Skewer. The Charm as well. Everything for RNG to hit top 2 seems to be in this fight. As LGD are in a choke. Xiaohu has the perfect angle with the Glacial Path. He doesn't go in, but Fearness does. By himself, he's been caught out. Pants down, and LGD do not have a belt.
That Glacial Path was honestly so clutch coming out from Xiaohu because you can see it zoned them back. They got a little bit scared. They started to back off, and it left the Gwen all by herself. Now RNG going to get Dragon. LGD, so they are just going to go for the Scuttle. I was wondering if they were going to try and bluff RNG on the Baron, but that would have been risky too, considering you're in a 4v5, so it would have been a little bit crazy. But this is also the LPL, where, you know, the motto, crazy's our game. We've seen
Like this.
crazier.
Like this. Hang on a minute. Look at a mid lane as LGD picked the wing, but Wei gets locked on down. Assum, the apotheosis. He's still alive, and I never knew Devo was playing here today. Whip it and whip it good. JinJiao getting a reset as well as Breathe is running for his life, but Nilah comes in for the first LPL game and does that and Breathe. Oh, Breathe. That's insane. He's gold. He's trying to survive, but JinJiao gets a reset. Double X down, and it's still an LGD win off the back of the Whipper in the bot lane.
And LGD used the perfect window right when Breed showed on the wave and bot. They're like, hey, let's go in. This is only a 4v4 right now, and we're going to see how it all starts out, jumping right on top of Ming before Assum's able to get in there. Finds that huge ulti that you were talking about. So many health bars low, and it buys enough time for members like JinJiao to be able to get in, start finding these kills with the ultimate. Sure, Assum ends up going down, but so many RNG members are such low health bars. Again, JinJiao can just keep following up with the ulti, and LGD, it looks like, is, you know, hopefully the screen comes up. Okay, so not able to turn it into a Baron in the end.
And RNG were able to get the Cloud Drake. Let's remember that, folks, as we saw before. So there is a timing yet again that LGD will be fighting for that soul. But the gold swung back, Lyric. LGD now with a 6k gold lead yet again here in this game. And you look at that Pyke in the bottom lane. JinJiao with 2 items with 160 ward score, which is just heaven for any support main out there. You know, I'm looking at that, I'm like, dude, I wish my Pyke was that good. As Lyric, I also have to mention, Assum is now 3.5 items strong as well. We also have Yeji with a Void Staff and a Magi's. There's a lot of power on LGD that came through at that last fight too.
And even just look at the level difference coming out, right? Assum, level 16, Gala only level 14. So definitely getting value out from that passive, despite the fact that he's actually down in farm.
True. He's massively. We're in front of Baron, though. I want to focus on this, Lyric, because vision has just been cleared. LGD are gonna bring RNG into the shadows. Speaking of which, the jungler dodges away from a dredge line. Ming sets up for the pick off as Breathe now joins in as well, Lyric, and LGD are willing to take this 5v5.
We need to remember, Gala, no flash, no go. Xiaohu, no flash as well. So sure, can still get in the middle of a fight and cause chaos with the E, but if enemy blow summoners, or we see things like the dashes come through, because everyone on LGD side actually has a dash.
Yeah.
They will be able to dodge out from the engage coming in from Xiaohu. So I feel like RNG don't have a lot of great tools to work with right now. That's why they are playing on the more defensive side. But LGD still not feeling too confident of baiting out the Baron. I feel like lending itself to the fact that they are on soul points, probably just waiting to try and get that guaranteed power spike from picking up yet another Cloud Drake as well, which we need to remember, individual Drakes have all been buffed on this patch, so also just a strong pickup in its own right. But RNG buying another day's worth of time is all they're looking for.
It's just crazy to me. I mean, LGD, imagine if they played this well in the split, Lyric. We always say when teams get eliminated, there's just this fire that resonates with them. Against RNG, against our top 4 team that are trying to lock in a double elim, a second finish in the regular season. LGD stand in front of them. It is literally a Hodor situation, but I hope it doesn't end the same way. LGD looking for a pick off the wing here as JinJiao continues to skyrocket in the ward score and now control this bottom side with a minute to go.
We also have Assum, who finished up his Lord Dom, so gonna definitely do a lot, as we do have, you know, members like the Nautilus or even Wukong with the Stone Skin passive, being able to get that shred in there. But LGD just completely choking them out from even being able to enter their bottom side jungle, which of course gives them no chance of looking for Drake. So RNG now, since they can't walk into their jungle, they're gonna have to try and overload one of these lanes if they want to contest pressure.
Waves angle's big. Missing ping is coming through. JinJiao hasn't dropped the ward just yet. RNG are hovering around towards the jungler as the Bone Skewer will fly blind just to confirm it. Ahri comes in clutch as well from JinJiao. as Yeji now joins in. I'm just waiting for the brink of this fight as he's still so cheeky with his bone skewers, but Xiaohu flashing forward, gets stunned up. The RNG mid laner with a massive whoopsie as he's now in the middle, but it could be a bait with the shock down from Gala. Bree joins in. It was a bait, but X marking the spot is even bigger as Shadow comes through. And Yeji as well. Look at this Pyke support. Reset, reset, reset. Another onto Ming. Reset. JinJiao onto Gala. Reset, no! The Immortal Shield Bow comes in clutch. And Gala again! Stop giving this man Zeri! It's too shocking!
How does this guy always end up saving the day? Xiaohu starting the fight off with a mistake, not able to find a target for his ulti that he wants, and it actually turns around in favor for RNG. It's not really going to turn into anything else. Shadow is still up and alive. It's a 1v2, so he potentially does have to back off from this, but he's still incredibly strong, so RNG gotta be careful, but it looks like it will just turn into third Drake for RNG.
Oh my god. I mean, Lyric, a mistake from Xiaohu. The bridge forward is, I don't know. I need to get my Mandarin in check there. 13,000, I'm going to say kills, Lyric. They've been around since 2013 as Royal Club. I'm going to say kills after that. I will find out from production, of course, but let's look at the replay in the meanwhile. That was a fight.
This was so messy. I don't know how anyone can follow this, but it looks like he's trying to flash in to get the to get engage off onto Yeji. Not able to do so as Yeji does end up getting away, but here, keep your eyes on Gala. Pops the ulti, had a really nice W right before that came out, and the members of RNG kind of just playing keep away, and LGD might be strong. Most of their damage in CC still is single target is now.
Way's dead.
Way's gone.
X-Master spot again. We're in a 5 versus 4. LGD creating the upset in our eyes. The Shadow with the great Everfrost. It's Xiaohu. Turns it around. Bree jumps in and Xiaohu helps get the kill, but JinJiao is on reset city while Gala tries to outplay. There's the ulti there. Almost. The triple kill comes through. Look at Zeri in a 1v4. Gala flashes away. They can't reach him and into the GA. That's good. JinJiao with the Bone Skewer as well. And RNG are routed. This is the ace that LGD were looking for.
And this is the ace that can crush RNG's dream of getting the top 2 spot. That would be a bye 2 double elim of playoffs. The safety and the security net that you want. LGD, they have some decent death timers. I don't know if they'll be able to end here, but looks like they're going to give it a go.
5 seconds with the GA available. Way needs to buy time with his flash, but no ulti available. It's all up to RNG's jungler. Otherwise, RNG will be starting in the 3rd round. Onto Fearness, low health bars. GA still there as one Nexus turret. Kills down Assum, but 3 people running into it. LGD to take us to a game 3 in the final series of the split. Fearness and Yeji on the Nexus, and they've done it. JDG applaud you, sirs, because you've done the impossible.
The look on the faces, look at Shadow and the amount of energy and excitement he's bringing. I mean, LGD just coming out of nowhere, bringing out the Nilah, bringing out the Pyke. It worked wonders, but Shadow on the Viego. I mean, it all started with him, right? He was the one finding the advantages. He was the one playing down towards that bot side and covering. He was the one making the plays up towards top side and then counter ganking for the Gwen, not letting RNG succeed. And then it got to the point where I think JinJiao probably had the flashiest moments with the Pyke finishing off those kills with the ulti, but the amount of damage, the amount of threat that Shadow was providing on this Viego was just so much.
JDG locked in second from that LGD win. You're wondering, why are JDG involved in the conversation, folks? But now, with the game score, RNG can no longer reach JDG. Even with a series win here, it is Top B Sports and JDG in that order with 1st and 2nd. All off the back of this crazy game with our first Nilah of the LPL. In our last series of the LPL, we also get a game 3.
And now, again, if RNG don't win, RNG end in 4th. Which,
yeah, they do.
I mean, you're still in the same round, right? Like you can argue about which one's scarier, but still, the fact that there's still technically stakes for RNG in terms of where they place with this last game, you know, just says so much. But, I mean, just kudos to LGD. The fact that they were able to pull this out, they started their momentum in the early game. I mean, they started with their momentum in draft in terms of being able to throw this curveball. I had honestly forgot Nilah was even a champion just from the fact that it got released. And then LPL teams all just kind of agreed, like, it sucks. We don't care about it. Like, wasn't getting banned, wasn't getting picked, nothing. And then able to make it work. Shadow, though, like, think about it. He pulls out the Viego. We were looking at RNG's draft, like the first 3 phases. We're like, oh my god, they're getting Wukong and they're getting Zeri and they're getting the quote-unquote like
Lissandra.
better side of the mid lane matchup.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's looking rough, but Shadow able to make it work. And LGD overall, I guess, showing us why they put Shadow and Yeji back in. Because it has been Haichao and Quay kind of taking the main spotlight over the past few series.
It's so crazy. I want to pull out JinJiao as well on this Pyke. 206 ward score in a 36-minute game is beyond bonkers. Like, that is just such a good effort. And this Pyke lyric, the resets in multiple fights, the setup, I think that was the best Pyke performance we have had in the LPL all year long for the past couple of years. Easy to say.
I mean, it was a huge performance coming out from JinJiao.
Yep.
An impressive performance, and JinJiao is one of these players who is role sought that we kind of are like, he's all right as a support.
True.
Nothing great, nothing stand out, but then having a game like this is huge. And I mean, right, you assume there's a reason why he is on the LGD roster and working with like a lot of newer and fresher players with the wealth of experience that he brings. I mean, JinJiao is a player who's actually been to Worlds, so overall great to see him step up against a team at the caliber of RNG. But this also serves as a reminder. Let's remember in spring that RNG lost to, a team WE that was sitting at the bottom of the standings like towards the end of the split. So this is tried and true RNG.
I mean, again, losing top 2, people will be like, oh, it might not matter, but if RNG now, where they are, 3rd or 4th, wherever they finish Lyric, if they lose a best of 5 in playoffs now, they are just out. They might go to regionals, but they will not be the top 2 seeds, no matter what. So, folks, we're in a world where RNG could be defeated by LGD, but only the game 3 will tell us after the break.